Hey guys, so I've seen a lot of these Walking Dead YouTubers doing their pitches for Tales of the Walking Dead episodes, and some of them have been pretty good. I disagree heavily with some of them. I don't like the idea of doing anything with Shane, because I think that story's been told, and any revisiting to that story just means like there's going to be continuity errors. It's going to look dreadful with a recast Carl. It's going to look dreadful with John Berthnall being like 10 years older. I disagree with that, but there's some great ideas in there for sure. They've pitched some great ideas. Now, I wasn't invited. I don't know why. They probably just don't know I exist. So I wanted to pitch 3 Tales of the Walking Dead episode. Now, I could do more, but I started to do more, and I figured that honestly, like some of the ones on the bottom of the list, I'm not that passionate about, whereas the others I are. So I'm just going to be doing 3 today. All right, and these are my 3 ideas. Okay, number 1. Are you ready? Number 1 is the cosmonaut episode. All right, the astronaut that is in space that Strand speaks to in Fear the Walking Dead in season 3, or is it season 2? Whichever season it is. The astronaut he talks to, the Russian astronaut, the cosmonaut he speaks to. I think it would be really cool to have a very somber, very kind of light story about this guy and his final moments. There's something about this, I feel like it could be very artsy, it could be really touching at moments too, and I think it's interesting. Some of my favourite Walking Dead episodes are just character pieces, where we spend time with one character or very few characters, and we just examine them. And I think that's what this episode could be. Just this one guy in the International Space Station, on his own, realising his air is about to run out, and what he does in his final days. Does he try to, have some elaborate scheme to try and escape and get back to Earth? Does he have, just a last drink and party and, live life to the fullest? Or does he spend it there depressed and upset and sad? I generally feel this story has so much goddamn potential. And it'd be very interesting as well, because it is a new location. We would just be, following this guy in space. And I think whether or not he turns, that could be like a really good way to end it, right? Maybe he doesn't turn, or maybe he does turn and he turns into a walker, or maybe his body, because he wasn't exposed to the wildfire virus, maybe this guy just simply dies, right? His body just floats and he's gone, but he's still alive. And maybe that has the potential for a cure. I don't know, but I just really like this idea. I think it's got a lot of potential, and I think it's my favourite one. Now, you could just recast the guy who obviously played the cosmonaut, or you could get like a whole new actor, but I think it was actually like a Russian-speaking guy who... He's Latvian, but whatever. Still, we could recast him. But yeah, I personally love this idea, and I think it has so much potential, and it's my go-to pick for a Tales episode. My next pitch is King County Day 1. Now, currently I'm actually writing this fanfiction that's going to be like a canon-based fanfiction, something to like fall into the canon, and if you want, you can consider it canon, but because I don't want to, hurt the actual main canon of the show, I'm working around it. But essentially what this idea is taking a character from King County and seeing the fall of Rick's home and Rick's neighborhood and Rick's place without looking at Rick or Shane. Now, I think Shane could definitely have a cameo in this. There's potential for Shane to have a part of this episode, but I wouldn't want it to be a big part. It would just be purely fan service, a quick scene, and we're done. The character instead that I want to follow is actually Lambert Kendall. Now, Lambert Kendall is an officer within the King County Sheriff Department. He's obviously Rick's colleague, and he's specifically Leon's partner. Now, we do see a little bit of the King County and how it sort of fell apart in the Dead Reckoning video game, and I like to consider that canon, so I wouldn't want to disrupt anything that happens in that video game. If anything, I would probably just confirm it more that this game is actually indeed canon. And yeah, we would follow Lambert in the early days of the outbreak. Something happens early on, there's some sort of shootout that occurs where some guy is obviously eating someone, and Lambert goes to bed thinking nothing of it, but pretty traumatized by the day's ordeal. And then, of course, when he awakes after his night shift of being, a lawman, all hell is breaking loose, and he's trying his best to save the town, control things, and then when the military come in and begin to evacuate people, of course, soon realizing the military's, dubious plans of in fact bombing Atlanta. So they're evacuating everyone to Atlanta, but then they're also about to bomb Atlanta. So, Lambert then becomes a sort of hero character. And it would end probably with him maybe surviving and going onwards, or it could end with him failing. I mean, either or is acceptable. Now, in my fanfiction plan, Lambert is going to live for a long time, but we'll get to that when we get to that video. I want to make sure it's good before I send it off. I'm not sending off shit. Yeah. But that's my idea. King County Day 1. Shane will have a little cameo. Maybe Laurie will have a little cameo. But aside from that, it would just be showing different characters, but obviously in a very familiar place, that being Rick's home county. And my third Tales of the Walking Dead episode idea is something a little bit radical, and that is following an animal. I want an entire episode where we just stick with either a dog or a cat, preferably a dog because I'm more of a dog person, but for you cat people, sure, it could be a cat too. We just follow a single animal and their journey in this outbreak, and that's all it is. So we follow this dog just going through life, hunting some sort of animal to survive. Maybe he resorts to eating a zombie on the floor, whatever it may be, and we just follow this one poor fucking dog going through life. And he comes in contact with survivors. Maybe they pet him, they feed him, he sleeps with them, he wakes up in the morning and finds them gone, or something like that. Something tragic where this poor dog doesn't have a fucking owner. And maybe then it ends with like a character we don't know the fate of, right? Maybe it could end with, I don't fucking know. Yeah, I just think like following the episode through an animal protagonist, that could be so cool. And we get a brand new perspective on things. We get to see it through an animal's eyes instead of a survivor's eyes. Things are less complicated for an animal. And yeah, I just love that idea. I think that would be so adorable, but also so gripping and emotional at times too. There's a lot they could do with it. And if you want, it could be fucking Skidmark, I suppose. I don't really want it to be like an established animal character. I'd rather it be a new one, but they could do it with like Skidmark, because that motherfucking cat somehow survived a nuclear bomb, so maybe that guy does deserve his own episode. But those are just 3 of my ideas and things that I would like to see, but I've definitely heard some cool ideas too. I'm not opposed to like an Abraham, Eugene, Rosita prequel. That could be really awesome. But I generally don't want stories from characters we know the fate of and we've already had the story told. To me, that just, again, like with the Whisperer episode of Tales, you're just opening yourself up to like inconsistencies at that point and things that just ruin like the timeline or ruin the continuity of the show, especially with very aged actors. Like, it'd be awesome to see like a Governor prequel show, but I don't know how great that would be with David Morrissey being 10 years older and having to like find and get all the cast back together, the old Woodsbury cast, because you want it to feel authentic. I don't want something that just they throw it. I don't want the bricks like in Dead City. That does not feel like a continuation of Hilltop, because they don't bring over any of the extras. It's a bunch of new extras. These are not familiar faces of people who lived in the Hilltop. Where the fuck is Diane? Where's Diane? Where's Cal and Eduardo? Okay. Yeah. So that's my opinion. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Also, I'm doing a fanfiction for the Lambert stuff, but if you'd like to see maybe I could write a script, maybe write a script for the other 2 ideas, and we could go through it and see how good you like it. If you like it, then let me know, because that could be interesting to try out.